Hi, everyone. So, we've been gone for about a week. So my brother has been listening to my podcast, and if he's listening to this one, thank you. He gave me some massive, constructive criticism about my podcast. I am very, very new to this. And in this constructive criticism, I took a break to re-look at my podcast and try to figure out where I can do better in. And it's been all thanks to him. Maybe thanks to him. He's really annoying me right now. But we are actually doing part 2 of WandaVision, and as I was writing everything out for this one, I realized there might need to be a potential part 3. So I really hope you guys enjoy WandaVision, because it's going to be an extended thing. So hopefully next Monday I might have the part 3 up, because it is a midnight binge, which means Monday. So I am going to do this for my brother because apparently he loves this. You are listening to Utter Randomness Podcast. I'm Lulu, your host, and this is a Midnight Binge. So we're starting off where we picked up, which is we interrupt this program. This episode starts off at the hospital, and we are now reconstructing people at the hospital. This is post-Thanos snap, and we meet Maria Rambeau's daughter, Monica. And if you don't remember Maria, she's from the Captain Marvel movies. We meet Maria over there. We meet a very tiny Monica, and we have found out that Maria has passed away during the blip, if I remember that's what it's called, the blip. And so we're reconstructed at the hospital, and Monica's obviously confused. She has no idea what's happening. Maria passed away from cancer, and when she woke up, she believed that Maria was actually in surgery. And to have that news broken to you, I could not just fathom what Monica was going through, because that grief is so real. She thinks it was yesterday or the same day, and it ended up being about 3 years ago. So Monica ends up going to Sword's headquarters. Try saying that 5 times fast. Sword's headquarters, where we are introduced to Director Hayward, but he's very quick to correct us and is actually acting director Hayward. And Hayward sort of explains things, what happened during those 5 years to Monica, what happened with Sword, their refocus in priorities, which ends up being robotics, nanotech, and sentient weapons, because a lot has happened in those 5 years. But Monica isn't very happy with the approach that Sword is doing, because O and R in Sword means observe and report, not attack. But because of the new threats that are being presented, Hayward believes that this approach is appropriate because of what's going on in the world and the unknown threats. But Monica's very quick to mention that there are also allies out there, and she's specifically referring to the Kree and the Skrills from Captain Marvel. So Hayward is also quick to to tell her that Monica should have been Maria's replacement, but obviously because she suffered from the blip, that didn't happen. And Maria's also not too happy that she has been grounded, because that is what the regulations say, because she's been missing. I don't know what the regulations like verbatim say, but apparently if something happens to a Sword personnel, they are grounded for like missions. They can't go out into whatever they usually do. And it sounds like Maria is some sort of pilot. And she's not allowed to do that because she's grounded because of the Thanos snap. So instead, she is assigned to our favorite FBI agent, Jimmy Woo. And they're looking into a person who has gone missing from witness protection. Like, how do you lose a person from witness protection? But they don't just lose a person. They lose an entire town. So they end up going to this town where it sounds like this person originally came from, which is Westview. The sheriff, who is standing right in front of a sign that says "Welcome to Westview," says that the town does not exist. And now it's like, okay, what's going on? A whole town cannot just go bloop, and yeah, it is now missing. Monica gets the bright idea to touch something, the barrier, and she has now disappeared into WandaVision. Goodbye. We are now with the lovely Darcy Lewis from Thor and Avenger, and she is now Dr. Darcy Lucy. Dr. Lewis after attaining her PhD. Yay! She's being transported to a response base with other scientists who are coming from very, very specific fields. She has no idea why she's being transported. She has no idea what's going on. So she tries to talk with the other scientists and gets shut down pretty quickly by someone that's driving the car saying, not to talk. But this is Darcy we're talking about. She's going to talk. So they arrive to Sword Response Base, and obviously Darcy's just like, no one knows what's going on. And she is very quick to discover the frequency for the WandaVision sitcom. So I was like, yay! Somewhere else, an agent is going into the sewer under Hayward's command, and Wu is not happy about this at all because he's worried that this is not just a dome, but it could be a sphere, meaning that it could extend underground, and that sending this agent in could mean losing this agent just like they have lost Monica, because Monica hasn't returned yet by this point. They have no idea where she is. She just disappeared into this barrier. WandaVision sitcom. So they begin exchanging these ideas about what's going on, especially after Darcy discovers what this sitcom is about. And there's a lot of questions. Isn't Vision supposed to be dead? Why sitcoms? What's happening to Wanda? And they are now able to identify Monica as Geraldine. So as they're watching, they're using the opportunity to start communicate with, or attempting to communicate. And that's where the voice comes from. The radio happened, Wu's voice more specifically. So we are now seeing the other end of that part. So I was like, oh, yay. So now we know who is actually trying to speak with Wanda, and it's actually Wu and Darcy and the other people at the Sword Response Base. But we are showing that there is a malfunction in the show, like something's wrong with the frequency or something's wrong with the signal. We have no idea what's going on, why we're getting blips and glitches from the show, from the sitcom, and Darcy has no idea either. But she has noted it several times up to this, and we find out that the hazmat agent is actually the beekeeper from a previous episode. Everything's coming to a head in these next few episodes. Geraldine, this is post Wanda pregnancy. This is after she gives birth to Billy and Tommy. And Geraldine makes the mistake of mentioning Ultron. Big, big mistake, because Wanda has been very happily living in this fantasy realm, in this fantasy world with Vision and her babies and this world. And it's picturesque, it's beautiful. And Geraldine just kind of throws an atomic bomb on it, mentioning Petrol and Ultron. Wanda is not happy about this. And we finally figure out what happened to Geraldine. She was not sent home. She was cast out of Westview completely. And that's where that part comes into. And the show malfunctions again. Like, it's getting almost edited off. So we are, as the audience, we are now realizing that Wanda is editing the show, whether she is realizing what's going on or not, and she's just editing it to keep it the way she wants it aesthetically and visually and all this jazz. We are finally figuring out that Wanda is slowly realizing what's going on in her world. So when anybody or anything goes off script, the show is edited. And as she's doing this, the real world is starting to bleed more and more into her specific Westview, and she sees a dead Vision. So that's this episode. On a very special episode, which is the next episode, we are now in the 80s era, and Vision and Wanda are struggling very much with parenthood, having 2 children. And we figure out that Wanda's magic actually does not work on the children. The children are immune to Wanda's magic. And this could be because they were made by Wanda's magic, or this could be because they're her children, They might have powers of their own. We don't know. But Agnes makes a return. She says that she hears the children crying from outside. We already know that Agnes is a bit of a nosy Rosie, so her popping in unannounced is quite normal. But Vision has a lot of suspicions about Agnes and about the world he's in. He's starting to question everything. And Agnes breaks character and specifically asks Wanda if she should take it from the top. Wanda and Vision are very confused by this out of character sort of thing, but they're interrupted because the babies have stopped crying. And pop, the kids are now about 3 or 4 years old. So we have super growth in kids. So I think the kids might have powers at this time. I don't really know. But outside Westview, Monica, who has come out of the what is now being reviewed as the Westview or Maximoff anomaly. I cannot say that. It's like an enemy. Anomaly. After what's being referred now as the Westview and Maximoff anomaly. Oh my goodness. Anomaly. I'm going to say that very slowly now. Monica is being evaluated and even slightly interrogated, and she's asked to describe what she felt during her time in the Westview anomaly. And she describes a sensation of pain and even hears Wanda's voice inside her head. And as she further explains, she explains that she's also felt other emotions. I try to put hopelessness and emotions together. Other emotions, such as hopelessness, which she further described as grief. Now, you remember, Monica's actually very raw right now after having her daughter, after having her mother pass away, Maria, so she's very grief-stricken herself. There is a briefing. So Monica, Wu, Darcy, all of these guys are going to a briefing under Hayward. And Hayward claims that Wanda is doing all of this on purpose. And Wu's quick to defend Wanda. However, they're also highlighting Wanda's very destructive nature and her destructive tendency. And Hayward even has a video and a description to show the others further proof of Wanda's very destructive behaviors. She actually broke into Sword headquarters and steals Vision's body. Wu says she is now breaching Sokovia Accords as well as Vision's living will. So we're going to backpedal real quickly about the Sokovia Accords and Vision's living will. Now, the Sokovia Awards. Wu specifically mentioned Section 36B of the Sokovia Accords, which states the creation of self-aware artificial intelligence is prohibited. This was because of the creation of Ultron. And that's where this section of the Sokovia Accords comes from. It stems from that, meaning even though Vision was already I'm saying that twice, even though Vision, before he had passed away, was already an artificial intelligence and very self-aware of himself, because with what Hayward is saying, that Wanda resurrected Vision. Basically, she broke that Sokovia Accord because she's resurrecting a self-aware artificial intelligence, which means she broke the Sokovia Accord if you want to get technical. Vision's living will says that he does not wish to be used as a weapon. Apparently, they could study his body and whatever else, donating his body to science because it came into Sword's possession. But because of the Sokovia Accords, they obviously cannot resurrect him or anything like that, or even build other self-aware artificial intelligence similar to Ultron and Vision because of what the Sokovia Accords has dictated. However, with what Hayward is saying, Wanda broke both of these. And Wanda has signed the Sokovia Accords, obviously, during one of the Avenger films. So she has to follow this. Now going back to WandaVision, what will happen when Vision learns this truth, that he is technically dead? I don't know. It sounds like Wanda resurrected him, so he's technically dead. So what will happen when Vision learns this truth that Wanda resurrected him? Like, what is Vision going to do? Super Growth Part 2. So the boys find a puppy, and they really, really want to keep this puppy. They name him Sparky, and he's adorable, and they want to keep him. However, Wanda and Vision both say that they can't keep him because he's too young. They're too young for this baby. This baby, not a baby, a puppy. It might as well be a baby. A puppy. They are too young for this puppy, and Wanda pulls a number from her head and says, "You can't have a dog until you're about 10 years old." So Super Growth Part 2. So the kids age themselves to part two to 10 years old in order to keep this dog. Wanda and Vision cave, and they keep the dog, name him Sparky, and he's adorable in addition to the family. Back outside of WandaVision, we now learned that the barrier has now been referred to as the hex because of the hexagonal shapes within the barrier that you see occasionally. And we start diving into Wanda's abilities a bit. Wanda's abilities are illusion based. She cannot create tangible material out of thin air. It's very illusion based. She messes and alters people's perceptions. That's what Wanda's abilities have been when we are talking about the Avengers and so on and so forth. However, when Monica goes to investigate her clothing when she came out as Geraldine, we find out that her clothing has been altered to fit the narrative and the aesthetics of the 70s sitcom that she was transplanted into. Like, for example, her shirt, her shirt was still made out of Kevlar. She shot her shirt. Her shirt was still made out of Kevlar. And we now realizing that somehow Wanda now has the ability to rewrite reality. And like, what's going on? How did she gain this ability? Because she did not have this ability before. Her abilities were pretty much solely based outside of telekinesis. I'm sorry. Her base, well, yeah, I'm saying I'm right, but I switched everything. Her abilities were telepathic and telekinetic, meaning that she could alter perception, invade a person's mind, and move things with her mind. They were not based in tangible creation, though. We go back into Westview and Vision's in work. We're having a further breakdown in the WandaVision characters. The other characters, not Vision, Wanda, Agnes, Herb, all these characters, but the ones that we don't see all the time, more specifically a guy named Norm from Vision's work. So as they're talking about computers at work, because we are now in the 80s, is it the 80s? Did I say 80s? 80s, I think it was. 80s? Yes, 80s. They get a shipment of computers in work, and Vision is walking through everybody how to use them and talking with a character named Norm. Now, as they're talking, they get an email, some sort of email bleeds into the WandaVision reality from Sword and Darcy, dictating that they had found radiation outside of the hex, or some, like, around the perimeter of the hex. And as this happens, Vision starts questioning more and more and more about what is real. What is he perceiving as real? Is it real here? Is it real there? What's going on? Now, as he turns off his computer, he turns to Norm and alters Norm's mind. You got to remember, Vision had the Mind Stone, one of the Infinity Stones. He had the Mind Stone, meaning that he had similar abilities as Wanda, where he could alter perceptions, mess with the mind, and yada, 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 yada. So when he alters Norm's mind, Norm starts breaking down, begging to be set free, begging for her to be stopped. Vision gets overwhelmed and kind of defaults Norm back into his WandaVision self. Once again, we're going back outside to Sword's response base. They send in a drone that has been downgraded from their normal technology in order for it not to be altered when it enters the hex. And Monica is controlling this, and she wants to communicate with Wanda. Starts talking with Wanda because she has firsthand experience of being inside the hex, inside Westview, inside WandaVision, and tries to talk and get through to Wanda. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Hayward takes this time to override the mission and orders an execution on Wanda and sends a bomb out to her. They lose the drone, they lose the feed, they have no idea what's going on until a very loud alarm starts blaring that lets people know that the hex is being breached. Being breached specifically by who? A very pissed off Wanda. She is absolutely fuming. She is livid. She gives everybody there a warning. Leave her alone. Leave her and her family alone. She's not hurting anybody. Just leave her alone. Monica takes this time even further to attempt to convince her that they're not a threat. But Wanda's just like, how are you going to help me? Obviously, Monica has no answer to this and just says, I don't know, you know, just let us help you. But she's still so angered that she just turns around and goes back into Westview. Not after basically turning every person on Hayward. As she enters the hex, it changes from a semi-transparent to like a glitching red. Note that this is kind of a fun little thing. Wanda's accent actually changes from when she's outside of Westview compared to when she's on WandaVision. On WandaVision, she's got this very American accent, and when she's outside of the WandaVision hex, outside the anomaly, it changed back into her Sokovian accent. We are now, it's ending, this particular episode is ending, and we finally see Pietro, but it's not Pietro, it's Peter from the X-Men, and they have recasted the character, and you're just like, huh? So I have to end it there. I wish I could do more. So there might be a part 3 or even a part 4. I really hope you're enjoying this change. I will continue it this way, and yeah, WandaVision so far has grabbed my attention like no other. I think when this comes out, I think episode 4 of Loki, no, 4 of Loki or 5 of Loki should be coming out, and I've been really interested in that, so I'll be doing obviously a midnight binge of that. I just found out, well, not just found out, when I first started this, they kept saying that WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki are all miniseries, and they won't be getting a season 2. As far they're standing by this, Disney Plus is standing by this at the moment, that they will not be getting a season 2. Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Wanda, has also gone record saying that there is at the current, route, bridge, wherever you want to go, there is no part 2, or not part 2. This is part 2 of WandaVision, a season 2 of WandaVision. I hope there is. Maybe they will expand on other characters in the future with, like they did with Bucky and Sam and Wanda and Vision and Loki. I hope there's more expansion on these characters, because let me just say, I think they're doing such a brilliant job with these shows. Like, each one of them is different. They don't feel the same. They're wonderful. They're detailed. They're competent. They're beautiful. Like, they're just wonderful additions to get to know some of these characters, especially these characters who do not have a lot of screen time, not a lot of talk time, not a lot of detailed time, like Captain America or Iron Man, and so on and so forth. So it's really nice to have this in-depth kind of change for Wanda and Vision and Loki and Sam and Bucky. Like, it's really, really nice. And I hope that they take this and continue maybe doing this with other characters that will come about in the Marvel Universe. But we are ending it there. Our next episode, I think, is the Halloween Spooktacular episode, which will hopefully be released the following Monday. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.